You're 35 years old. You've been working for over a decade. You're making decent money, maybe 55,000, maybe 70,000, maybe even more, and you just checked your bank account and you have $2,400 saved total. Your 401k has maybe $18,000 in it if you're lucky. You've got $6,500 in credit card debt that never seems to go down. Your car payment is $420 a month, and you're sitting there thinking, how did this happen? I went to college, I have a job, I'm responsible. Why am I basically broke? Here's the thing nobody wants to tell you. You're not behind because you're irresponsible. You're behind because you've been following advice that was designed for a different economy, a different job market, and frankly, for people who started with advantages you didn't have. But here's the good news. 35 is not too late. You have 30 years until retirement, and I'm going to show you the actual math on how to go from broke at 35 to financially secure by 65. Not rich, not a millionaire, just secure. But it's going to require you to make some decisions that are going to feel uncomfortable. My name is Brenda, and I spend way too much time thinking about what it actually takes to recover from being broke in your mid-30s when conventional wisdom says you should already have it figured out. If you're someone who feels like you're behind financially and every piece of advice you read just makes you feel worse about yourself, or you're drowning in a combination of low savings and high expenses and don't know where to start, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because what I'm about to walk you through isn't motivational fluff. It's a realistic, math-based plan for someone who's starting from close to zero at 35 and needs to build actual wealth over the next 30 years. And yeah, it's going to require sacrifice, but less sacrifice than you think and way less than staying broke for the rest of your life. Let me start with the numbers you need to see, because you can't fix a problem you can't measure. According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, the median net worth for Americans aged 35 to 44 is about $91,000. But here's the thing about medians. Half of people have less than that. If you're sitting at close to zero net worth at 35, you're not alone. You're in the bottom third. That's not great, but it's also not hopeless. Here's what financial advisors say you should have saved by 35, roughly 2x your annual salary. So if you make $60,000, you should have $120,000 saved. If you have anywhere close to that, congrats! You can stop watching now. But if you're like most people watching this, you have maybe 10–20% of what you're supposed to have. That gap feels insurmountable. It feels like you've already lost the game. But here's what those generic guidelines don't tell you. They assume you started at 22. They assume you didn't have student loans. They assume you haven't had any major life disruptions. They assume a lot. The real question isn't, am I behind? Because yeah, you are. The real question is, can I still retire with dignity? And the math says yes, but only if you act now. Let me show you exactly what's possible starting from almost nothing at 35. Let's say you're 35 with $5,000 in total savings. You make $62,000 per year. You're currently saving basically nothing because your expenses eat everything. Here's the plan that actually works. Year 1-2, the foundation. Cut expenses by $400 a month through strategic reductions. We'll get to how. Save $400 a month equals $4,800 per year. Pay off high-interest debt with any windfalls. Emergency fund goal, $5,000 to $15,000. Years 3–10, the acceleration. Increase savings to $600 a month as income grows. Start investing $500 a month in index funds. Continue building emergency fund to $20,000. Pay off remaining consumer debt. Let's do the actual math on the investing piece. You invest $500 a month starting at age 37. After 2 years of building emergency fund and killing debt, you earn an average 8% annual return. You do this for 28 years until you're 65. Total invested, $168,000, just $500 a month for 28 years. Ending balance at 8%, approximately $550,000. Add in your employer 401k match if you get one. Let's say 3% on $62,000 equals $1,860 per year, growing at 8%, and that's another $180,000. Total at 65, roughly $730,000. Is that a huge number? No. But combined with Social Security, which at current projections is about $2,000 per month for someone with your earnings history, you're looking at the ability to withdraw $30,000 per year from your portfolio plus $24,000 per year from Social Security. That's $54,000 per year in retirement. You can live on that. It's not luxury, but it's secure. But here's the thing. This only works if you actually start, not next year, not when you get that raise, now. Here's what most people don't realize about why being behind financially is so psychologically damaging. It creates learned helplessness. You look at where you should be, you look at where you are. The gap is so big that your brain just gives up. Why save $500 when you're $100,000 behind where you should be? That $500 feels pointless. It's the same psychology as someone who needs to lose 100 pounds deciding that going to the gym is pointless because they'll still be obese afterward. It's true that one gym session doesn't solve the problem, but it's also irrelevant because one gym session isn't the strategy. 500 gym sessions is the strategy. You're not going to close your wealth gap in 1 year or even 5 years. You're going to close it over 30 years of consistent behavior. And the only way you fail is if you don't start. Here's another psychological trap: comparison. You're 35, scrolling Instagram, seeing people your age buying houses and taking expensive vacations, and you feel like you failed at life. But here's what you don't see. A lot of those people are drowning in debt. According to Northwestern Mutual's 2024 Planning and Progress study, the average American has $21,800 in personal debt, excluding mortgages. That person posting vacation photos might be financing their lifestyle with credit cards. You're not actually behind those people. You're just behind the curated version of their lives they're showing you. Okay. Let's talk about how you actually find $400 to $600 a month to save without living like a monk. I'm not going to tell you to stop buying coffee. That's condescending, and the math doesn't work. Cutting a $5 daily coffee saves $150 a month. That's great, but it's not enough, and it makes you miserable. Here's what actually moves the needle. Big win number 1: housing. The average American spends 30 to 35% of income on housing. On $62,000, that's about $1,800 a month. If you can reduce this to $1,400, you've saved $400 right there. How? Roommate, smaller place, different neighborhood, moving cities. These are the big moves people avoid because they're uncomfortable, but they're also what actually works. I know someone who was paying $1,650 for a one-bedroom apartment at age 34, felt like he'd earned living alone, moved back in with 2 roommates, paid $850 a month, saved the $800 difference for 3 years. That $800 a month invested at 8% for 3 years is $31,700. His pride cost him $30,000. Big win number 2, transportation. Car payment, insurance, gas, maintenance. The average American spends about $700 to $900 a month on transportation. If you can get this to $400 a month, that's another $300 to $500 saved. How? Sell the car with a payment, buy an $8,000 used reliable car in cash. Your insurance drops, no more payment. Saving $350 easily. But I need a reliable car for work. A well-maintained 2015 Toyota with 80,000 miles is reliable. You don't need a 2023 anything. Big win number 3. Food. Most people spend $400 to $600 a month if they're single, more if they have a family. Delivery apps, restaurants, convenience. If you can cut this to $300 a month through meal planning and cooking, that's $200 to $300 saved. Notice what I'm doing here? 3 categories: housing, transportation, food. Together, they can free up $800 to $1,000 a month. Now, you're not just saving $400, you're saving $800, investing $600, and still have $200 left over for debt payoff. But here's the thing. Cutting expenses only gets you so far. At some point, you hit a floor. You need a place to live, you need transportation, you need food. The real leverage is increasing your income. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to make some people mad. If you're 35 and making $60,000 and you've been in your field for 10 plus years, you're either in the wrong field or you're not advocating for yourself. The median income for someone with a bachelor's degree and 10, 15 years of experience should be closer to $75,000 to $85,000, depending on field and location. If you're not there, one of 3 things is happening. 1, you're in a genuinely low-paying field. Teachers, social workers, nonprofit workers. If this is you, the hard truth is you might need to change fields or supplement with side income. 2, you're not asking for raises or changing jobs. The data is very clear. People who change jobs every 3 to 5 years earn 20 to 30% more over their careers than people who stay put. Loyalty doesn't pay anymore. 3, you don't have skills that command higher pay. This is fixable through certifications, training, or education, but it requires investment and time. Let me tell you about someone I know. Call her Lisa. She was making $58,000 at 36 as a project coordinator, felt stuck, spent 9 months getting a PMP certification while working full-time, changed jobs, new salary, $78,000. That's $20,000 more per year. Over 29 years until retirement, invested at 8%, that raise is worth an additional $600,000 in retirement wealth. 9 months of studying for a certification was worth $600,000. That's $66,000 per month of study time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Brenda, this sounds great on paper, but I can't get a roommate. I have a kid. Or I can't just change careers. I have bills now. Fair. Life is complicated. Not everyone can execute the exact same plan. But here's the thing. If you can't make the big moves, you have to make more small moves. Can't reduce housing? Then you need to be even more aggressive on transportation and food. Can't change careers? Then you need to be relentless about negotiating raises and getting promoted in your current field. The math is unforgiving. If you want to retire with dignity, you need to either save 15 to 20% of your income starting now, or you need to increase your income so that 15 to 20% is actually achievable. There's no secret third option where you keep doing what you're doing and magically end up financially secure. The numbers just don't work. And look, I get it. It feels unfair. You did what you were supposed to do. Went to school, got a job, tried to be responsible, and you're still broke. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's reality. And you can either accept reality and work with it, or stay mad about it and stay broke. Your choice. All right, here's your actual step-by-step plan. This week, calculate your net worth. Everything you own minus everything you owe. Face the number. Track every dollar you spend for the next 7 days. Everything. You need to know where your money is actually going. This month, create a realistic budget based on your spending data. Not an aspirational budget, a real one. Identify your top 3 expense categories and research one way to reduce each of them by 10 to 20%. Open a high-yield savings account if you don't have one. Start putting something, even $50 into it automatically every paycheck. Next 90 days, make one big cut. Downsize housing, sell the car, something that frees up real money. Start investing at least $200 a month in a low-cost index fund. If you have a 401k match, get at least that much in there. Update your resume and apply to 5 jobs or ask for a raise at your current job. Next year, increase savings to $500 to $600 a month. Build an emergency fund to $10,000. Eliminate at least one debt completely, smallest balance or highest interest rate. Increase income by at least $5,000 through raise, job change, or side work. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Being broke at 35 is a hard spot to be in. You're old enough to know you should have started earlier, but young enough that the urgency doesn't feel real yet. But here's the truth. 35 to 65 is 30 years. That's the same amount of time from when you were 5 years old to now. Remember being 5? That's how much time you have to fix this. And with 30 years of consistent investing, even starting with nothing, you can build a $500,000 portfolio. That, plus Social Security, is a secure retirement. Not a lavish one. You're not retiring to a yacht, but secure. The people who stay broke at 35 and end up broke at 65 aren't different from you. They're just people who kept telling themselves they'd start next year after the wedding, next year after the car is paid off, next year after they get that raise. There's always a reason to wait, but the math doesn't wait for you to feel ready. So here's your challenge. Do one thing today that your 65-year-old self will thank you for. Open the investment account, make the budget, apply for one job, sell something you don't need. Just one thing. Because broke at 35 is recoverable. Broke at 55 is a crisis. And which one you end up with depends entirely on what you do starting right now. If this video gave you a realistic path forward instead of just making you feel guilty, smash that like button and subscribe because we're going to keep building a plan that actually works for real people with real constraints. Now, go take that first step. Your future self is counting on you.